Iran stresses that it will not accept any preconditions for participating in Geneva II conference. Calls in Turkey to refer to trial those who tried to obstruct the investigation of a truck loaded with weapons sent to terrorists in Syria. Al-Falloujah local leaders strike an agreement with the Iraqi army to end military presence in the city.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Jawad Zarif has voiced Tehran's refusal of any precondition for its participation in the International Conference on Syria, Geneva II. During his meeting with Jack Straw, head of the British-Iranian Parliamentary Friendship Group, and the delegation accompanying him, currently visiting Tehran, Zarif said, "In case we are invited, we will play an effective and active role in the conference." UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon had recently stressed that Iran's presence at the conference would have positive impact on its result, referring to Washington's rejection of Iran's participation. On Iran's nuclear file, Zarif described the possibility of reaching an understanding with the 5+1 countries as very easy. On his part, Straw referred to the importance of continuing dialogue between the two countries in all domains. Units of the Syrian Arab army eliminated terrorist groups and destroyed their weapons in the neighborhoods of Jurat al-Shayyah, Al-Qarabis, Bab Hout and Al-Qusur, in addition to Al-Khalidiyya and Al-Ghasibiyya villages in Homs countryside. Army units foiled attacks by armed terrorist groups and the residents of Al-Haswiyya village near Ad-Dar al-Kabira and the village of Abu al-Alaya in Jub al-Jarrah in Homs eastern countryside, killing and wounding scores of them. Our army units clashed with terrorists who tried to attack military checkpoints at the outskirts of Tel Bise, killing and wounding dozens of them. Syrian Arab army units also destroyed terrorist gatherings in Al-Sheikh Ibrahim farms, destroying their weapons and ammunition near Al-Mahmoud Mosque in Al-Rastan countryside. Units of the Syrian Arab army attacked terrorist gangs who were attacking public properties in some of Al-Rastan's neighborhoods. A military source said that units of the Syrian Arab army are protecting economic complexes inside Al-Rastan, preventing terrorists from attacking them and entering the city across Al-Rastan Lake following a terrorist attack on the National Hospital with mortar shells. The source added that Syrian Arab army units maintained control on large sections of the northern neighborhood in Al-Rastan. In the wake of compelling facts disclosed about Erdogan's embracing terrorists in Syria, the Turkish opposition Republican People's Party has called for referring Erdogan to trial because of his support for terrorists. Meanwhile, the Turkish media reveals threats leveled by Erdogan's supporters against the general prosecutor in Adana after the latter has insisted on inspecting a truck loaded with arms heading to Syria.
The Turkish Republican People's Party, considered a major opposition party in the country, has called for taking legal action against the Turkish officials who have obstructed investigation and inspection of a truck loaded with weapons and ammunition heading from Turkey to terrorists in Syria at the pretext of carrying humanitarian assistance. The party's representative Rafiq Al-Maz has called on the general prosecutors to take measures against the persons responsible for such dangerous obstruction, as it places Turkey on the list of the states supporting terrorism.
The Turkish gendarmes have been notified of the presence of a truck carrying weapons and ammunition to terrorists in Syria in Kerkekhan village in Al-Rayhaniya province. Those who were inside the truck alleged that it was carrying humanitarian assistance. The inspection process of the truck was obstructed by the intelligence personnel at instructions from the official in the area.
Al-Maz has rejected the attempts by some Turkish officials to cover up the crime of sending arms to the terrorist groups in Syria, as it contravenes international laws related to combating terrorism.
They should be referred to trial on the charge of supporting terrorism. They have provided the weapons and sent them to Syria. Therefore, Erdogan's government is responsible for shedding Syrian blood.
Following his insistence to investigate the issue of the arms-loaded truck, General Prosecutor Ozcan Shishman, on the other hand, was threatened to stop the investigation. Out of fear for his life, he found himself forced to ask to be transferred from Adana to Gaziantep.
In Turkey, new corruption files continued to unravel, undermining Erdogan's government, which persisted its hectic campaign against security services and police, dismissing hundreds of police officers in 16 governorates. Turkey's state-run news agency said that the sacked police chiefs were from major cities, including Ankara, Izmir, Antalya, Diyarbakir, and others. Erdogan's government also dismissed the deputy chief of the Turkish National Security Service. In addition to that, Erdogan's government dismissed yesterday 350 policemen, including officials in charge of combating financial crimes, as hundreds of high-ranking policemen have been laid off during the past 2 months. Welcome back. Iraqi Prime Minister Al-Maliki stressed that his government will not use force against the city of Al-Falloujah as long as Iraqi clans pledged to expel the gunmen. In standing behind the Iraqi army, Al-Maliki pointed out that the upcoming parliamentary elections will not be postponed at all, as preparations for holding it are complete now. Al-Maliki called on the political forces to take part in dialogue and focus upon the combat of terrorism. Al-Maliki made it clear that al-Qaeda terrorist network seeks to block the political process in Iraq. Meanwhile, Al-Falloujah local leaders agreed with the Iraqi army to end all armed presence in the city. Iraqi sources stressed that the agreement stipulates that the Iraqi police, as well as members of local clans, will run security issues in the town and open the highway for Iraqi military convoys, in addition to appointing a police chief and a general attorney. The agreement also calls on government employees to return to their jobs and open shops and drug stores all across the town. In Egypt, the political crisis flared up between the national parties and the Muslim Brotherhood, who tried to sow chaos. As Mursi's trial scheduled for today was adjourned until the 1st of February, clashes continued between police and the Muslim Brotherhood, especially near the headquarters of Mursi's trial at the police academy. Meanwhile, 2 roadside bombs exploded north of Sinai as armored vehicles for security forces passed, but no injuries were inflicted. Finally, in occupied Palestine, a Palestinian young man was killed and 2 others injured in an airstrike by an Israeli reconnaissance plane, accompanied by an artillery shelling east of Al-Shuja'iyya neighborhood in the city of Gaza. In the West Bank, the Israeli forces of occupation arrested 16 Palestinians during a raid into several villages. The Israeli bulldozers also demolished agricultural facilities east of the town of Aqraba, displacing 26 Palestinians. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to the latest business and market news with Vani Genjan, but after a short break.